Hopefulness 2.0. I keep forgetting that part. Day 15. In the process of prepping for some more peanut butter / banana bread. And this is going to be my breakfast / lunch. But before I cook that rice again, I'm probably not going to make the sourdough today. Because what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get, instead of getting a car right now, or even this week, I'm going to get some Smart and Final delivered via Instacart. It's going to be cheaper that way. I mean, it would be cheaper if I went and got the car and then did it and everything, but I'm going to get a bunch of stuff. Some bread flour, some whole wheat flour, probably some more all-purpose flour because I'm going to need that soon too. Going to need some more coconut oil, more peanut butter because I'm running out of those. But yeah, so I've got a list of stuff that I've already started, kind of like compiling on the Instacart app. I'm going to cook this up in a bit, but first I'm going to cook that bacon. To cook up some bacon. Alrighty. Problem is I'm kind of doing what I was doing yesterday when I opened this bag, which is cutting the bacon while it's in the bag, and the other bag I got rid of for this one because I cut through the bag. So, not learning anything really, right? God, these scissors are so good though. They're nice and sharp. They even have what seems like, and I could just be wrong, I might have just guessed incorrectly, I suppose. But what? Justin guessing incorrectly? No. But I thought they had kind of like really tiny serrations on them, but I'm probably wrong. I mean, it'd be harder to sharpen if they did, so. Plenty of bacon. I did this last night with freshly cooked rice, and that was delicious. So now it's time to cook some bacon, then fry the rice, heat it up in the bacon fat. I'm just going to kind of cook the bacon. Once it starts getting to that point where I want it cooked, then I'm going to dump in the rice, cook it all up in there, throw in some seasonings, and be ready to eat. Okay, where's the fucking rice? What the hell? How did I? Where's my? What the fuck? See, I've done. Wow, it was literally right here. Didn't even see it. This has been happening a little bit too much recently. Not happy with that. Gotta get some more rice too, because I'm running out. I'm not gonna use you. I'm gonna use you like I did last night. So yeah, I think trash has been taken care of today. Once I verify that, I'm gonna throw out my trash, and then I'll order the foodstuffs after I'm done with this video. Despite the fact that starter had been sitting in the fridge for a couple of days, and then I dumped in, cold ass water and stuff, it still bubbled rather vigorously, so that's a good sign. But once I get the bread flour and everything, then I will start with the whole Levant and I gotta clean out. Once I mix everything into this bowl, I'm gonna have to clean it out in order to do the sourdough again. I'm gonna want the bread flour and whole wheat flour as not only the Levant, but also, which is like the starter, using the starter. So it's like you use part of your starter, you feed it with the ingredients effectively from the bread you're gonna make, and then make the bread. And I can decant into one of these to then put it in the oven. And again, like it's Joshua Weissman, his video was talking about putting it in the oven with the light on. That should help maintain a certain low temperature, 70-ish. Depending on, weather and all sorts of other stuff. But I don't think I took my medicine yesterday. Pretty sure I didn't. I took it today though, before I started this video, while I was prepping the ingredients. Because what I wanted, and one of the reasons why I haven't actually started mixing them, is because the cold ingredients tend to solidify the coconut oil. Because once a certain temperature, I want to say around 70-ish, maybe a little bit less, it starts to solidify. So room temperature, that's one of the few, if not only, could be wrong, but it's one of the only vegetable oils that are solid or semi-solid at room temperature, because it's saturated fat. But it's a certain type of saturated fat. Like, you can get olive oil that's largely, well, it's mostly unsaturated, I think. Yeah, you're gonna get mostly unsaturated in olive oil, which is why olive oil is pretty good for you, considering. Oops. Piece of bacon was stuck and all of a sudden just but yeah, so I'm waiting for that to effectively warm up a little bit to room temp while I'm cooking. So with the heat in here, that should help. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on one of my cooling towers. I'll turn on both. No, just one. Let's turn on the one for now. I'll turn on both when I'm done recording. Getting real close to where I want to be. Maybe a minute. So yeah, I'm cooking that. Gonna make some more banana bread. And if I have it in me today, I will attempt to cook more sourdough. If not, I'll do it tomorrow. So a fun thing happened yesterday, and I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. I mean in a real, actual, fun, positive way. So I've been playing EverQuest pretty much every day, save for the first month I was living here, and then the last month I was living at the last place. Largely for the last year and a half, since November of 2020. Whoops. And, I made a couple friends here and there. One friend, literally, when I got my first epic item, I had like that was the last day I got to talk to him, and I never even got to see them in game. I mean, he has just a character and all that stuff, but you know, it's nice to see the character that you're friends with. You know, it's a visual representation of a person. It's the avatar. Don't need too much salt. The bacon's already pretty salty, but I definitely need a lot of pepper. I need to get a replacement of peppercorns too, because that's literally like the only peppercorns I have are the ones that are in that mill right now. That friend, you know, real life stuff happened and they weren't able to play nearly as much. Actually, they stopped playing altogether, and I hadn't seen them until literally last night by accident. And I was looking for somebody to help transfer these really valuable items that I had just purchased because I needed to go get a new quest sort of like end game breastplate for my rogue. And I looked up, you know, any guildies that happened to be in the zone that I was in, and I noticed a name that I hadn't seen in a while, and I was like, wait, hold on a second, is that who I think it is? So I asked, and sure enough, it was my long lost friend who hadn't been back for literally like a year. Like, I think the last time I saw them was late April of last year. So yeah, it's been 1 week since you looked, you know. Anyway, nice refried rice with some bacon, and I'm gonna put in some sour cream as well, if I can, because I'm making a mess. This bowl is too small, I think, but it's whatever. I am not strong enough for this stupid fucking thing. Because it's rotating and I'm like, I can't hang on to it. Alright, let's get you. Scrape off any of the goodies that are on this fork, or on the spoon, because there's goodies on the spoon. So yeah. An in-game friend resurfaced after nearly a year. And so we got the bullshitting for a while. What's funny is like their character, very similar to mine, but the last time I saw them, they were significantly better equipped than me. And now I am significantly better equipped than they are. They don't want to do like the high-end rating and stuff though. So I get that. They don't want to have to be in voice on Discord and shit. What the hell? Oh. One of my beard hairs stabbed me. I thought I'd sliced myself because it was laying flush on my skin. But it was just stabbing me, that's all. That's all. Yeah, I'm starting to run out of a lot of stuff now. So yeah, friend I haven't seen in a while, got to talking. They helped me with my transfer that I needed, and then they helped me get my rogue to where he needed to be so that I could, because you have to sometimes, depending on circumstances of course, but sometimes you can't do the quest specifically for one character with that character, to, you know, various time constraints and stuff like that. So I had the main piece for the quest, which was like this quest piece armor, and I talked about it in another video, on my druid, because druids are really easy to port around and stuff, and they have the ability to do that. But in order for the rogue to get the final breastplate, he had to be there and turn in pieces at the end as well to multi-quest. So yeah, that's what I had to do. Got it done. Really nice breastplate. Replaced my old one, even though the old one had a couple of other benefits to it that were kind of hard to replace, but it's whatever. I probably won't completely replace the other breastplate, even though I was really considering it, because it has spell resists on it, which makes it harder for you to get hit by spells. And a lot of the gear at the end game, it does have spell resist, but it doesn't have some of the same types, and so like you have to kind of balance it out a little bit. Last night was better. What the hell? A piece of rice that was just like entirely inedible. But yeah, so it was nice catching up. They were mostly just checking inventory throughout their characters, just to kind of like literally take stock of the situation. We BS'd for about maybe 2 hours or so, and then they had to log for the night, and then I logged probably about, I don't know, 30 minutes later max. But it was nice to see a friend. And the funny thing is, it was getting to that point where I was kind of getting tired of playing. Where I was really considering just kind of like, and I'm still going to consider it anyway, just slowing down my playing, you know, kind of have like maybe a plan each day if I want to play or not, and if I'm gonna do very specific things and then not do anything else after. Maybe give myself a little bit of time, or a time window, instead of, you know, just playing until whenever. I mean, that's a responsible thing to do anyway. Obviously, I shaved and showered and everything, and I did laundry yesterday. I didn't do the interview thingy. I'll record it today after I'm done with this. Got a couple other things I gotta do anyway. But obviously, I've got to mentally prepare for getting back in the workforce, even if I don't have a job. Because at some point I've got to get back into the workforce. Shit. Coughed a piece of rice out of me. But plenty more left. Kind of screwed up my laundry yesterday, I think. Because it didn't smell right coming out of the dryer, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. And I noticed that when I was taking stuff out of the washer, the tray for where the soap was pulled out. Now, I don't know if that's just because maybe while I was pulling some stuff out, I got caught on it and then, you know, pulled it out or something. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that I dumped that soap in there and I stuck it in there. And then I pushed it in. And I don't know how well the system works if it's not pushed in. And a couple of things got caught inside other things too, which didn't help. And that's always a potential issue. last night's rice and bacon was so much better. Like, it was fresh rice. Bacon was on its own. You know, I had like mixed in all the seasonings on their own. This one's much okay. So the reason why I can see it now, I can understand it now. Here, everything is much more homogeneous. Whereas last night, after I got the rice, dumped it into a bowl, I dumped in the seasonings to the rice itself. I basically made the rice awesome on its own, and then threw in some bacon. Whereas in this case, it was cook up some bacon, then cook the rice in that, and then throw in the seasonings, and then once everything's done, throw in the sour cream. And so the bacon is kind of just sort of overpowering everything. It's still good though, just not as good. Heterogeneity. It's funny, I want to be an adult. I want to be responsible. I want to do the right thing, not only for myself, but the space I'm living in, and so on and so on. And it's so hard sometimes, just because there's this impending doom hanging over my head. I think today I need to try the Twitch just chatting, you're an interesting person thing. Nice hole. It's hard to want to go through the day to day. Yeah. Washing your rice, by the way, does not get rid of the extra, fibrous parts, unless they've been pulverized significantly. I mean, I use a sieve. Kind of under stuff at the moment. I use a fine mesh sieve to wash my rice in, and it works. And there's also cheap rice too, so but I mean, part of the fact that in a world where I really wanted to do the voice too, but in a world where war is going on, you're getting regular daily information about so many different things. You got people believing Putin about bioweapons because of stupid conspiracy theory bullshit that resurfaced later. I mean, you could say, sirens, okay? You could say just go about your life just like those sirens. Maybe. You don't know what the situation is, and I think that's part of it too. It's because I don't know what the situation is. I don't know why that, those sirens are running. I don't know who or what is injured or why or etc. When you know the why, though, it's hard to distance yourself from it. And it's human to want to do something about it. It's human to care. It's human to feel the grief. Then there's also the uncertainty that either has direct or indirect impacts on your life as to whether or not you'll even have the ability to get a job or so many other things. Like, I know I can't be drafted because I've got injuries that would prevent me from being functional in the military, but I would also say dodge the draft. You know, if we're actively being attacked, that's one thing. You know, do what you feel like doing with regards to protecting the country, but make sure that the information you're receiving is accurate. It isn't just propaganda to get your emotions riled up so that then you go fight the bad guys. Because that's what 9/11 did. And nobody attacked us after the fact. And then we were stuck in a war for over 20 years. And I don't know what the situation in Ukraine is going to be like, but from my understanding, from a recent video from John Green about Ukraine and Russia and their history and the pieces of information I've been able to see and everything that I'm learning about that, you know, from my understanding now is that Vladimir Putin does not recognize Ukraine as an independent nation that is effectively stolen Russian land, and if he can't have it, nobody else will. Which is why they're cluster bombing the place, which is why they're just throwing everything at it and destroying it. This is not a war of part of it is a war of, you can come to Russia nice and safe. If you try to leave, I'm going to kill you. But nobody's getting this land but Russia. And I will destroy everybody to get it. There will be no peace talks. Sanctions will do nothing. Sure, it'll hurt the economy and everything else, and it'll hurt the Russian people more than anything, and the entire country is likely to fall very quickly. But in the process, and even if the country falls, it can still be rebuilt with the wrong kinds of people at the lead, because when you're in position of power, as long as Putin has been, whether you're directly or indirectly the leader, you're going to have only a few enveloping concentric circles around you of people. And once that vacancy goes, there's going to be somebody else who's really similar who's going to take your place. It's just how that works. That's how dictatorships work. CGP Grey has a great video about it. I think I'll link both the John Green video that I watched today, and I'll try to find the dictator video. I think CGP Grey has like multiple parts in his video. But once Putin is dead, that's really the only way it's going to stop. At least as it is. Once he's dead. Because he's the driving force behind this whole thing. But only if the people who then replace him are not as dead set on the same goal. And as long as there are people in power, or people with some kind of power, police especially, military, etc., who follow orders to arrest people protesting, to continue fighting, I'm pretty sure at this point, all the people who were in the military have effectively defected that wanted to defect. Now, there may be people who've been forcibly recruited through blackmail or some other coercion, extortion, etc. But I would say the majority, or most likely, the ones fighting anyway, are the ones who want to continue fighting. Which is problematic. Because this isn't just a war of attrition, this is a war of annihilation. And then one might ask, well, why are you caring about it? It's not going to do anything to you. I don't know if it will or not. It's reminiscent of my life in a number of ways, in that there are outside forces that make it difficult or sometimes impossible for me to advance. And I'm a white guy with privilege. I wanted to say apparently a white guy with privilege, doesn't make sense because I am. Oops. So I can only imagine what it's like for other people who don't have the same social status solely because of my biological or solely because of biological sex and their skin tone. And one, and there's people out there saying, well, why haven't you been caring about Syria or Yemen, etc.? And I'm like, I have, and I will say this. I've considered the fact that they don't look like me to be a reason why. And I would be guilty of that, most likely. I would also say that there's not nearly as much content coming out of those countries either. Whereas in fucking Ukraine, we've got first-person perspectives of this shit. I heard about the Christchurch killer in New Zealand some years ago, and then I saw the actual video. And seeing the video itself was terrible. Like, every site on the planet was trying to get rid of it. I was able to download it off of torrents because that's the way you're going to get stuff like that. I didn't want to see it because I wanted to replicate it or anything. I wanted to see it because I wanted to understand. I wanted to truly understand. I wanted to see it for myself. Yes, it's a morbid curiosity. Maybe I'll name the video that. But I'm also a human with a heart who is affected by this stuff. I don't watch it for shits and giggles. I mean, hell, for all I know, I'm just exacerbating all of the trauma that I've experienced in my life. I don't know. But I do care. Which is why I, doom scroll for about an hour before I get up. Plus, it's hard for me to just get out of bed anyway. I wake up and I'm like, do I even want to be alive? Most days, no. Most days, the answer to that is no. Covering that up for the time being, let that kind of warm up to the room temp. Might take another hour or so. I guess I could cover that. Whoa, let's not drop that. I don't know how shatterable it is. It's glass, so. Shatterable. That's a word. Did a lot of dishes before, a lot, but I cleaned out all the dishes that were in the sink before I started recording. And I will probably, let's see here. You a little bit of that just for the time being. Just needs to be loose. I'm gonna get my shopping list ready. So have fun.